Good evening, class. How is the Josh? Huh? See, no subject, right? Certain do's and don'ts. Point number one. Now, before I start, I seek apology from few of you, right? For two reasons. One, from past few days, I was not available on messages, right? I could not respond to those people who have messaged me because of certain reasons. Okay, I'm really sorry. Point number one. Point number two, I could not organize that CSAT class which I had told you, especially that reading comprehension, right? Now maybe I'll give you just an extension of that today if I get time, but please pardon me for these two aspects, right? But we'll try covering maximum today, okay? See, now we are just left with 10 days, right? Very simple days. Now there are certain things that you need to remember across these 10 days. Very important things. Now once I discuss a broad overview, I'll tell you how should you attempt your paper, right? Now with respect to your paper, we'll have different probabilities and every probability will have a way of approach, right? We'll discuss so that it's not a surprise element to you on the day of the exam. Okay, because some paper like last year, suppose you take last year's paper, it was random. Now when it is a random paper, it is not the same strategy which you apply when it is a moderate paper. It is not the same strategy which you apply for a tough paper or an easy paper. So we'll have roughly like 4 to 5 probabilities with respect to what can be a question paper, and we'll see what should be done when the paper is like this, when the paper is like that, when the paper is this, so that you're upfront prepared with respect to what should be your attempt, what is your optimized attempt, what should be your risk factor. Now all this we'll discuss, right? Apart from that, what should be your temperament from June 1st to June 4th? Okay, so these three aspects I'm going to discuss for maybe 1 hour, right? Now in that aspect only I'll revise all the elimination techniques that I had told you once. I'll just give you a consolidation of all the elimination techniques that we have discussed, like roughly 12 to 14 techniques that we discussed, right? Now there is one particular algorithm I have not told you when I'm talking about the classes, right? When should you apply your elimination technique, when should you not apply your elimination technique, right? I told you what is an elimination technique, but I did not tell you when to apply, when not to apply. We'll see that also today, right? Now when you talk about your temperament for next 10 days, it's very simple, my dear. Please remember, you cannot do miracles in next 10 days. Point number one. Point number two, now there are two different crowds in these next 10 days which get segregated. The first crowd is which is over ambitious. That one day tomorrow morning when I get up, I'll revise whole Lakshmikant. Right? Suddenly till your lunch time you realize that not even 10 chapters are covered, not even till your basic structure is covered. And suddenly what that particular section of the people do is that they miniaturize whole of their preparation saying that, Arey Babu, we did not study for last 2 months. Just because they could not cover that Lakshmikant in one day which is over ambitious, they nullify all of their preparation and say, I did not prepare. They'll start sweating. Right? Now that is one crowd. The second crowd is, it is that they'll start counting these days. Right? They'll have the calendar in front of them, they'll start striking like this. As if in the prison you're counting how many days are left to come out of the prison. Right? They'll start striking it. Very symbolically. One thing happens with respect to such crowd is there is a pent-up anxiety that is being built in you, right? Which is very detrimental with respect to your attempt on the final, right? Do this. If you are satisfied, if you are frustrated, scratch it, no issues. But please do not count your days. Remember this, because what is going to happen is, at the end of the day, you need a balanced and cool temperament for you to attempt your 85 questions. Right? Because I told you already that hardly 30-35 questions are going to be on your knowledge. 30-35 is going to be accurate 100%. Arey Babu, yes, I know this and this is the answer. But rest 60 questions, next 55 questions, we have to play it. Right? So, for next 10 days, one, don't be over ambitious. Point number one. Point number two, is that unnecessarily don't get anxious. Do not get anxious. Now anxiety with respect to your next 10 days will build up with respect to your preparation. Please believe that you have prepared enough from past 2 months you have been preparing at least. Right? I think Niyama it's almost like 1.5 months that we have conducted. Right? Now at least just imagine you started your preparation for prelims on the day of Niyama, which is April 8th. Now today is 25th. So roughly 40 days. 40 days is more than sufficient to clear prelims. Yes, test it. So you have prepared enough, believe it. And do not doubt your work. Because now there is no bigger sin than doubting your work. Because you have worked so hard, you have slogged, you have sweated, you have given so much, you have sacrificed so much, there is a lot of opportunity cost you have undergone. But on the final day you say that, Arey Babu, I did not study anything, I should not have wasted that Sunday afternoon where I went for a movie. Or I should not have wasted that Sunday afternoon where I ate biryani and slept. Right? Those things do not matter, my dear. You are not robots at the end of the day. Human beings. And all these are tolerable. And you don't need to be so harsh on yourself. Right? There is no hard and fast rule. Per day you have studied 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours, you have studied enough. Right? This is the second thing. The third thing I'll tell you is, now how many of you have seen this Businessman movie? Right? Neekante tope evadledu. Right? Aim for the 11th mile. Yes, no? Now please remember, next 10 days, the revision is whatever you revise. That's all. There is no hard and fast rule which is very, very rigid that you are going to hit this target. Please remember, whatever you are revising, whatever your physical conditions are supporting, that is the revision. Point number one. The things which are left out, questions will not be asked. Believe this. Believe this. Because what is happening is, again in last 10 days, you will think that I have to revise that, I have to revise this, I have to revise current affairs, I have to revise sectionals, I have to revise full length, I have to revise, or I have to give a test, I have to revise, or I have to do CSAT, I have to revise formulas. Now all this will become a jigsaw puzzle in your head. Now the thing that you need to do when such puzzle is existing in your head, fix it up that whatever I revise, that is the revision. Whatever I study, that is the study time. Whatever I solve, that is the question. That's all. Now you need some kind of self-contentment at the end of the day for next 10 days. I would not have made these statements if I was talking this lecture on somewhere between April starting. April starting, when I was taking your NEMA classes, I gave you some bhashan. I told you that every day slot 10 hours as if this is the last day that you're going to study, that's all. But next 10 days, remember that you need to be peaceful. Peaceful does not mean covering your blankets and sleeping, right? Peaceful means temperament. Temperament. That temperament is extremely, extremely, extremely important for you to clear this exam. I'll not say temperament for mains examination, because for mains examination it is brutal hard work. It is brutal work. You have to be sluggish for 3 hours. Next again 3 hours, finish it. You will not even have time to think. But when you come to this exam, it's all strategic. It's all strategic. Just like the Indian Army. Uri attacks. Indian Army. Overnight they went, blasted everything and came off. Right? Or your Operation Bandar, which happened in 2018. Now everything is silent, everything is strategic. That's how your prelims examination is also going to be. Because now when you look at the nature of the examination, exam is not testing your knowledge, my dear. Exam is testing only one factor called resilience. The resilience with respect to your prelims paper is, if you face a tough question, how well you are coming back for the next question. That is what is resilience. Now when you look at whole of your UPSC process, still your interview, everywhere your resilience is tested. Now suddenly overnight you will not get this resilience. The biggest factor that is going to play out with respect to resilience is a calm mind. And you need to remember that in prelims examination it is not a relative marking, but it is an absolute marking. That every question is having only 2 marks. Point number 1. Every question is having a negative of 0.66. Right? And if you are solving a tough question, it is not that you are getting 3 marks or 4 marks, nothing like that. Right? So, you need to understand that the game is all about calm mind and temperament, right? Now there are certain do's and don'ts when you talk about the next few days. First I'll talk about don'ts. Okay. Now these might seem very silly. Okay. These might seem very silly, but they are important. Point number one. Cut off the negative people around you. Right? If your relationship is strained, tell off, break up. No issues. No issues. They'll handle it. Prelims IPN Ratri, you can patch it up. No issues. Till 10 days, tell break up. Arre, get lost fellow. If any factor that is disturbing you, your mental status, cut it off. If your parents are pestering you, tell them I'll talk to you on June 5th. Right? If your friends are pestering you, if the people around you are pestering you, tell them use CRISPR-Cas9 technology. Right? Targeted or molecular scissoring technology. Cut it off and say that I'll talk to you on June 5th. Cut off the negative energy. Point number one. Point number two. Sorry, let me write it big. Right? It has to be given its own importance. Ego. For next 10 days, switch it off. Because I'll tell you a reason. Say you're having your ego inflated. Now nobody can say that I don't have ego. Right? Please, nobody is sadhu here, nobody is going to Himalayas. Right? Now this factor has high probability of spoiling your exam. I'll tell you why. Now when you talk about your question paper, now it is the general trend of UPSC that from 1 to 50 questions, there are at least 15 to 18 tough questions. That means if I have to split the tough questions among your first 50 and next 50, it is among your first 50. You can verify. That is the general trend. Irrespective of the set system, it might be your set A, set B, set C, set D, UPSC will ensure this. Now when a bunch of tough questions are appearing and when your ego is awake, it's active, what happens? UPSC is trapping you people that, Arre Babu, come on, switch it on. It is tempting you, right? It is seducing you to switch on your ego. Now when you are switching it on, what is happening is, automatically you are wasting time, right? For a question which is tough, if you are putting in 5 minutes, but as per your calculation and allotted time for any question is roughly 1 minute, maximum 1.5 minutes, right? Based on the length of the question, based on the depth of the question, it is 1 minute or 1.5 minutes at max. But if you are putting in 5 minutes for one question, and just imagine 15 questions like that, on an average, how much time you have lost? 1 hour. 1 hour for 15 questions at what cost? So in this examination, learning what to be left is very important. Now for example, if you refer your 2021 question paper, there was a question on Mitakshara and Dayabaga. Now most of the people are uncomfortable with this subject, right? Uncomfortable with this subject. For example, if you take the question on water credit, nobody knew what was water credit and nobody knew so much of details about water credit. Now UPSC gave 4 very long statements. Even in the case of Mitakshara, it gave 4 very long statements. Now what is it expecting to you? It is expecting you to switch on your ego, right? Now learning what to be left is very important, or leaving those things which are to be left is very important. Because what is happening is when you leave those things which are to be left, one, you are saving time. Just imagine you are wasting one question 5 minutes, those 5 minutes can be utilized on some other question which you are more sure of. One. Second thing, if you are uncomfortable with the subject, don't you think that there is high probability of it going wrong? So you are saving your negative, right? So the simplest mantra for which question to be left is, if it is big, if it is an uncomfortable area, leave these questions to be answered in third round or second round. Do not answer them in first round. Because what is happening is, if they are big and if they are uncomfortable areas, what is happening is you are automatically subjected to wasting of time. Now when you waste time in your initial 1 hour or your first round, don't you think the other rounds are getting constrained? They are getting constricted. The time available for other rounds is getting constricted. Now when the time is constricted, automatically you go for bubbling. Now in bubbling, there is high probability of you making a mistake again. Right? The simplest mantra for you here is which to be left, which not to be left is this. If it is a big question, if it is an uncomfortable area, combined, leave it. No issues, because you have a bracket of leaving 10 to 15 questions. It's not that you are attempting all 100 questions, not needed. You have a bracket of 10 to 15 questions being left. That means I told you that any attempt above 85 is a safe attempt. We'll see at what context. Right? So, please switch this off for next 10 days. Practice it. Practice it. Those who would have given your mocks, you would have, please go back and take out those mocks and find out those questions which are to be left. For example, those who gave forum open test last Sunday, there was a question on Balachuri silks, right? Tachoy silks, Tanchoy silks. That question was to be left. And there was a question with respect to Giddi, art and culture, dance, Giddi, Ma. That question was supposed to be left. Right? Now there are such questions. Understanding, analyzing and evaluating those questions which are to be left are very, very important in this context. The logic is this. Right? Okay, these are don'ts. Do's. First, the only focus next 10 days is revise. Revise. Revision is the only focus. Do not pick up anything new. Point number 1. Do not pick up any new source. Do not pick up any new test. If you want to solve test, if you want to solve some questions, the best question set that you can solve at this juncture is PYQs. And next 10 days, if you have to solve any question, solve only PYQs. Because whatever elimination techniques we have used, they are going to be used in PYQs, not in your institute tests. So the best set for your next 10 days is PYQs. Simple. Right? So revision, how should be your revision? Again, I told you when I was talking about, when I was making initial videos of for Niyama, I told you something about quick revision. I told you what to be prioritized, what not to be prioritized. Right? Now when you are revising, remember that you should not revise those things which are very, very obvious. Now should you revise a fact that the judges are appointed by president? No. Should you revise the fact that they are impeached? Right? Should you revise the fact that what is the process of their transfer? No. The only thing that you need to revise when you are talking about your judges appointment on this is your acting judges and ad hoc judges. Because that is, which is non-obvious. You would not have come across. That is one. The detailed impeachment process which is mentioned in your Judges Enquiries Act 1969. That is another non-obvious thing. So revising those things which are non-obvious is very, very important at this juncture. Because again, it's a time constraint. Now when you sit and start revising everything you know, there is no point. Revision is only to fix those things in your head which are not obvious. Should somebody tell you how is your Coriolis force in geography acting in the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere? No. Should somebody tell you what is it varying with respect to your equator to poles? No. The thing that you need to know with respect to Coriolis force is that it is an important factor when it comes to cyclone. The reason for absence of cyclone in your equatorial belt is absence of Coriolis force. That is non-obvious. That is non-obvious. And the other non-obvious thing that you need to remember with respect to this is that if you're talking about your gyre movement, it is moving in clockwise in the northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere anti-clockwise. If you're talking about cyclonic movement, it is anti-clockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. These are which are non-obvious, these are which are confusing. So your revision for next 10 days has to focus on those things which are non-obvious, which are factual. Because what happens is human brain forgets a fact in 7 days. Right? We become Gajnis in 7 days. Everybody is a Gajni. Right? Now 7 days, this factual aspect has to be remembered. Now when it comes to economy, you don't need to remember factual output, you just need to remember the trends. That how is this your current account deficit varying, how is the growth rate varying, how is the factors with respect to your agricultural exports are varying, how is the livestock population varying. You just need to know whether it is increasing or decreasing. And for every agricultural crop, at least those 10 12 agricultural crop, when I was discussing about Niyama, I told you I've given a list. Just look which is the first exporter, which is the second exporter, which is the third exporter, which is the highest producer, which is the second highest producer. That's all. Factual aspect means which you forget. So when you are revising, your focus has to be only these two, nothing more. Nothing more. Because other things anyway you know. You people are very, very sincere. And then 1 year means you would have been preparing at least. So if you are preparing from 1 year, those things which are obvious are not supposed to be revised. Please remember. Here what is happening is if you are not satisfied, if you don't feel that sense of completeness in your life, ఏదో vacuum ఉంది మీ లైఫ్ లో అనుకుంటే, first revise these things, then go back to those things which are obvious. Point number 1. Point number 2. Apply. Apply. Now what do you mean by apply? I told you that this exam is basically a 3-stage exam. That it starts with studying, knowledge, practice and application. 3-stage process. The application is with respect to on the final day, back tracing of concepts, right? How are your application with respect to the static that you have, and that is going to vary. Application of knowledge, again please do it with PYQs. With PYQs. Now I'll tell you one thing here. Now please remember when to use an elimination technique, when to not use an elimination technique. Follow this order, right? 1, you start off the question with knowledge, right? You read the question, you see whether the question is in the ambit of your knowledge base or not. If it is not hitting your knowledge base, the second thing that you can do is use technique. Technique, consistent statements, plain statements, mutually inclusive statements, mutually exclusive statements, toggling statements. All this we discussed. Techniques, right? All this we discussed, right? Now these are techniques. These are techniques, right? If you are able to eliminate one statement and arriving at the answer, that is a technique. And I have told you that UPSC is a kind mother-in-law. That's what I told you. It's not like your harsh mother-in-law. I told you it gives you clues in the question. So the second stage, once you pass your knowledge, the second stage has to be whether you are able to approach that clue that is given in the question or not. I told you example 2021 question, there was a question on moringa. Now there was no business for UPSC to give moringa packet drumstick. Now if drumstick was not given, I would not have known what is moringa. Who will know? Right? UPSC gives those questions. And UPSC is kind enough to define those terms which you do not know also. Now it has given one definition of fiscal stimulus in 2018. Economic question. It gave what is the definition of fiscal stimulus. Which of the following conditions would result in fiscal stimulus? Now what is UPSC telling you? Arey Babu, I have given you what is the subject there. Please read and apply it in these options. The only thing that you need with respect to this second stage is patience. Don't get restless. Don't start sweating. అరే ఇది మాకు తెలియదు, మేము ఎప్పుడు చదవలేదు, యూపీఎస్సీ ఇంతే, యూపీఎస్సీ ర్యాండమ్గా ఇస్తుంటుంది, రైట్? యూపీఎస్సీ ఈజ్ ఆల్ హార్ష్, ఇట్ ఈస్ హార్ష్ ఆన్ మీ, మై లైఫ్ ఈజ్ నాట్ జస్టిస్, ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ జస్టిఫైడ్. All these things you don't think. The second thing you need to have is patience here and apply your technique. Look whether your statement is consistent. I told you with respect to when we were discussing about 2016 question paper, we discussed there was a question on OPEC, Organization for, OPWC, Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. I told you it is, in the second statement it was given that it is an institution of WHO, right? What has WHO got to do with chemical weapons? There is no business, it is not consistent with respect to the question that is being asked. Simple. So search for those consistent statements, search for those plain statements. That's what is technique. Now again you fail and you are not getting any technique. The third stage is Jugaad. Jugaad, right? It is Jugaad. Jugaad means extreme statements. Generally, numbers given in UPSC are wrong. Generally, the years are wrong. Right? Generally, question with respect to which following is an incorrect statement, the answer is either C or D. It is like that. Yes. If it is asking you which is an incorrect answer, generally answer is either C or D. 99%. Now that 1% benefit of doubt I have to give you, otherwise you will catch me in Ashok Nagar crossroads and butcher me again. I don't want that to happen. Generally that happens. Right? If there is Mahatma Gandhi in the option, Mahatma Gandhi is the answer. Father of the nation. Right? Last year there was a question on these books that I don't remember which book also, but I had answered that because that man with Dundee is there. Right? Mahatma Gandhi. Now all these are Jugaad. Now Jugaad is only when we have understood the nature of the paper. That we have done in our Niyama sessions elaborately. That I was telling for each question what was my thought process from 2016 at least. Right? So we have done it very, very elaborately in those sessions. Use those here. Jugaad. Jugaad. Right? Now last is intuition. In layman language I will say guess. A guess does not mean inky pinky ponky again. A, B, C, D, inky pinky ponky, father has a donkey. Wherever father has a donkey comes, that is the option. No. That is not what is intuition. Now intuition basically means that from the time of your birth till the time you attempt your UPSC Prelims examination, there is one accumulated knowledge. There is a knowledge base. That you have certain knowledge base from day to day. Right? I did not know anything about moringa, I did not know anything about drumstick apart from eating it. Very clear. Right? The other thing I knew for drumstick was drumstick tree. People climb on it and break their legs when they are small. Right? Only these two things I knew. And I knew very well from a drought region, I am coming from a drought region, and every house there was a drumstick tree. The best weapon in the hands of the mother was drumstick. Right? Very, very flexible. Right? The principle of pressure, contact area. Now, if that particular drumstick tree or moringa tree can be available in every household in the case of a drought region like Rayalaseema or Anantapur, can at all it be an evergreen tree? Simple logic. Now, when I was able to eliminate that the statement was it is an evergreen vegetation, when I was able to eliminate that, UPSC was kind enough to give you the answer. Now in this question, did I guess or did I use my intuition? Are you getting this? So do not hesitate to use the stupidest knowledge you have. Please remember. The most stupid knowledge you have, nobody is going to come and read your mind. Right? Nobody is going to become there. Right? You have your liberty to apply all nonsense there. Please remember. The only aim when you are writing a prelims examination is by hook or crook get the answer. That's all. That is the only option we have. Because at the end of the day, nobody is asking you to write what is the thought process that you have got. This option, no. At the end of the day, your OMR is evaluated that whether you have marked the answer or not. By hook or crook, get the answer. Right? Now cherish those moments. That's very, very important. Cherish those moments. I could break Himalayan nettle into net just because net means something related to cloth, so I had put the answer as textile in 2019 question paper. Now the answer was textile. Now that was the most stupidest logic I could use, because nettle, breaking it into two, net and till, I don't know what is for till, but it is net. Now here what you are doing is again intuition, going with your gut feeling, going with your confidence. That is extremely, 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 extremely important. Right? Because maximum distribution that you can get in this particular lot is 30 questions, not more. Not more. So other 50 questions that you are supposed to answer is one of these. One of these. And we have practiced it enough. Believe that you have practiced it enough, apply it. And this is the order. Now do not immediately jump into this step and say we are getting wrong answers. No. I did not tell you this when I was talking about elimination techniques, because then you will stop focusing on elimination techniques. At the end of the day, it is knowledge. Huh? No. Right? So please do not go step by step. Okay? Go step by step. Right? Now once we have done this, I will enter the examination hall. Right? June 5th, visualization. They'll say no. They'll say that Jyoti is traveling from your forehead to this. It is traveling down. You're in trance. Right? Same thing, you're entering your examination hall on June 5th. Now there are 3-4 probabilities of a question paper. Right? Certainly it is not going to be easy. Eliminated. Right? It is not TSPSC or APPSC for it to be factual or easy. So that probability of it being easy is eliminated. So when you are entering your examination hall, please do not be that it is going to be easy. If it is easy, it is bonanza to you. Right? It is bonanza. It is bonanza. Because that is the very, very least probability when it comes to an UPSC question paper. The maximum probability of UPSC question paper is either a moderate paper, a random paper, or a tough paper. We'll see what should be done. Right? Now I'll discuss this context with respect to taking in the factor of reservation also. Right? I want it to be very practical, because government is giving you reservation to use it. I don't find any harm in discussing that particular factor. Please do not mind, please, I'm not discriminating. Right? Article 17, no. I'm completely abiding by Article 14 and Article 21 and my Article 19 clause 1. Right? There are no reasonable restrictions. There are no reasonable restrictions. You cannot impose Article 19 clause 2, because I am not hindering to any of those security of state, nothing. I am being very, very practical in the context of exam. If I had it, I would have used it. There is no harm. Government is giving you, Arey Babu, use it. Social justice. Social justice. Right? Now when you look at this probabilities, first probability is if it is a moderate paper. The second probability is if it is a tough paper. The third probability is if it is a random paper. Now first question that might arise is, how are we deciphering whether it is a tough paper, it is a moderate paper, or random paper? If the number of questions which are random is greater than 30, it is random paper. Remember this. Random question means nothing from your knowledge base. Moringa was a random question. Right? Mitakshara Dayabhaga was a random question. Although there was a lot of discussion that has been going on in the context of inheritance rights for women, no doubt. But it's a random question in the case of UPSC. Right? Now for example, that Gopal Swami Iyengar committee was a random question. Now such context, it is random. If the number is greater than 30, it is random. It is random for you, it is random for everybody. Please remember. Right? It is random for everybody, it is not only random for you. Point number one. Now, it is a tough paper. There are 3 factors or 2 factors when you have to decide whether it is a tough paper or not. First thing, the number of gunshot answers. Gunshot answers or accurate answers. Right? On the face of it, when you look at the question paper, if you are able to keep 20-25 questions, then it is not a tough paper. Are you getting this logic? Right? I am looking at the question paper and I know that for 25 questions, this is the answer for sure. If it is 25 to 30, then it is not a tough paper. If these gunshot answers are less than 20, it is a tough paper. Point 1. Criteria. The second criteria is there is an element of randomness. If there is an element of randomness, again the paper is going to be tough. Third, lengthy. Now it has been the trend of UPSC from 2019. 2019 paper was lengthy. 2021 paper was lengthy. 2020 paper although seemed lengthy, but it was random. 2020 paper was random, but 2021 and 2019 were lengthy in nature. Right? If these three factors are coming into play, then it is a tough paper. It is a tough paper. Now this is anything minus tough or random is moderate. Anything minus tough or random is moderate. That means on the face of it, if I am able to answer more than 25 questions for sure, Arey Babu, this is the answer, then it is a moderate paper. Because the fight is going to be for next 50 questions. Whereas here the fight is for what? 70 questions. Are you getting this? Right? The extent of fight that is present in answering the question paper is determining the nature of the question paper. Simple logic. Now when should you decide whether it is a tough paper, moderate paper or random paper? The maximum time you should take to decide is the initial 10 minutes. Right? Did you all fix up those? What is your methodology of solving paper? I told you, I gave you how I solve my paper. That first 10 minutes I skim all the questions. Then I'll take 1 hour 10 minutes. Then 20 minutes. Right? Then I start bubbling. Then last 10 minutes. Now I take 4 rounds with respect to solving a paper. Now same thing you should have done. I told you. Right? Now expecting that you would have done this, the maximum time you can decide whether a particular paper is falling under which category is 10 minutes. Because unless and until you decide what is the nature of the paper, you cannot set up your mindset. Right? You cannot afford to go for a roller coaster ride across the paper. One question is easy, suddenly you see a tough question, there you get depressed. Then again you need motivation to answer some easy question. Then again you come for some tough question. Again some random question. Now here what is happening is, there is a roller coaster ride. Now when there is a roller coaster ride, automatically there is inconsistency with respect to what you are thinking. Now when there is inconsistency with respect to what you are thinking, first problem that arises is silly mistakes. Right? So fixing upon what is the nature of the paper is extremely important in the initial 10 minutes. Please do that. Please do that. Right? Now this is the simplest criteria that you can objectify whether a particular paper is tough, whether it is random, whether it is moderate. That is the only probability. It cannot be easy. Right? It cannot be easy. Okay, because if it is easy, it is conceptual in nature. Then again it will fall into moderate. Right? Now, what should be your attempt? Now you might get a doubt, sir. You don't have the question paper. Right? UPSC did not leak the question paper to you. How can you fix this attempt before and enter? This is the biggest mistake which 95% of the aspirants do. They do not fix their attempt and enter the examination hall. Because what is happening is, you need to understand that fixing an attempt means you are basically training your mind to be ready to attempt so many number of questions. It is not that suddenly you get up and you realize that paper is tough, so I have to attempt this much. No. You are upfront ready with your mind that if it is tough, I am attempting this range. If it is easy, I am attempting this range. If it is random, I am attempting this range. Simple. Now when you talk about a moderate paper, I am talking about moderate paper, the attempt at any cost has to be 85 plus. Now how can you say? Simplest logic, again we'll use maths. Now just imagine an individual is having 70% accuracy. 70% accuracy for 85 questions is what? 56, 60 questions correct, 25 wrong. 25 wrong means you are having 25 or 24, 8, 16, 60, 120, 104. 104 is your score with 70% accuracy if you are attempting 85 questions. Right? Now just imagine if you are attempting 80 questions on a moderate paper with 70% accuracy. What's your score? 56, again 24, 112, 24, 8, 16, 98. We are not touching the magic figure of 100. Now our aim is this magic figure of 100 plus. Because take it for granted, with the extent of preparation, with the extent of information that is available, with the extent of competition, with the extent of the levels of preparation, any day the cutoff will be near 100. Whatever be the paper. If it is moderate, it will go up to 105 just like your 2017. If it is easy, it will go up to 117 just like your 2016. If it is tough, it will go like 92, 90 just like last year and last year. So any day your 100 is a safe score for general and OBC category. Because for OBC category, do not get much of the leverage, because hardly you get a difference of 2 marks. Right? So for general and OBC, 100 is a safe score. So if the paper is moderate, please focus on attempting 85 plus. Now in this case, now for those who are aiming Indian Forest Service, for a moderate paper, what is going to matter is maximizing your attempt. This is only for Indian Forest Service. I'm not talking about civil services. Right? Civils aithe chalu anukone vallu, please optimize it at 85 to 88. For those who are very, very insistent upon hitting this Forest Service cutoff, now I would say for those who have not cleared your prelims for past 2 attempts, I would say the first target should be touching civils cutoff. Then me edo vachina bonanza ne. Right? Anything is bonus above civils cutoff. So your aim has to be optimizing your attempt for civils cutoff, which is 85 to 88. I told you simple maths now. Now how can you say without seeing the paper? I can say it with the extent of preparation, with the extent of competition, with the extent of information that is available, with the extent of diversity of questions that people are being subjected to. Is this clear? Right? This is for OC and OBC. Now if it is for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, now I'll talk about EWS little later. Scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, the optimized attempt would be 75 to 80. Again simple logic. 75 you are attempting. Say you are having 70% accuracy. 75 means roughly 35. 52 questions are correct. 52 questions are correct. How many are wrong? 23 are wrong. So 24 are wrong. 52, 104, 16, again 88. 88 is a safe score. 88 is a safe score. Right? When the cutoff was 98 in 2018, 2019, their cutoffs were 80. Cutoff of scheduled caste was 80, scheduled tribe was around 78. Right? So for those who belong to scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, please optimize your attempt between this. Do not get over ambitious. Please remember. Because what is happening is, for every question you unnecessarily attempt, if it goes negative, you are going 0.66 back. I have seen people failing prelims with 0.33. And I have seen people passing with 0.33. If the cutoff was 90.33, he has got. One person, if the cutoff was 98, the score was 97.33. Now, you would not have attempted one negative, you would have cleared prelims. So every question matters, and please understand that what is to be left has to be left. Simple game of cricket. You cannot say every ball I'll stand on the front foot and hit. There will be a bouncer, there will be an yorker, there will be a foot toss ball, there will be a beamer, there will be a full length ball, there will be a what, good pitch ball, whatever. Every ball has its own way of playing. You cannot afford to go for a bouncer saying that I'll play a pull shot. Just like Rohit Sharma, you will get caught in near boundary. The best manner of playing a bouncer is just like your Sachin Tendulkar. You either hook it if you can or leave it. Simplest understanding. So a question which has to be left has to be left. Remember this. Remember this, because that is going to take you closer to the cutoff. If you are attempting which is to be left, it is taking you away from the cutoff. Simple. Now with respect to EWS, now this year the dynamic is going to be a little different. With the anticipation of the market survey that is present, right, with the extent of applications that has been gone up with respect to EWS category, the dynamic will be different from last year, 2021 as well as 2020. Okay. Now for you, the optimized attempt would be around 82, right? Previously it was such that in 2020, if the cutoff of OC was 92, their cutoff was somewhere around 77, something like that. I don't think that much of difference is going to exist now, right? That difference between a general category, OBC category and EWS category has already narrowed down in Indian Forest Service. So it is high time that it happens even in civil services also, right? So please be little careful with respect to that dynamic. Now when you talk about the second category of the paper, if it is tough, please remember, when a paper is tough, what is mattering is accuracy. When a paper is moderate, what is mattering is the number of questions you attempt. When it is tough, what is mattering is the accuracy. Now because you know that toughness, you have number of random questions, you have number of questions on uncomfortable areas. Now it's not that you cannot, it's not that you afford to play in those uncomfortable areas, it is very certain that they are going to go wrong. Now when they are going to go wrong, what is the point in playing with it? So in the case of toughness, the matter is going to be accuracy. But one caution of note here with respect to OC and OBC categories again. Right? Now why am I emphasizing it so categorically is, I'm being pragmatic and practical. Right? You have to be, because at the end of the day it's a competitive exam, it's a relative merit. Right? Now for OC and OBC categories, again, irrespective of whether it is a tough paper or not, your attempt has to be above 80. There is no other choice. There is no other choice. Because if it is again, say you are attempting 80 questions, again with accuracy of 70%, right? Now their accuracy percentage has to really go up. It cannot get stuck at 70%. Because if it is tough, it has to range from 75 to 80 at least. Now say if you are stuck at 70, now 70 means 80 questions, 56, 24, 24 means again 8, 16, 24, what is it? 56, 112, 16, 98. 98, safe score. Because if it is a tough paper, the cutoff might range between 90 to 95, considering the number of posts this year. So again, you are on a safe level. 98 is very, very close to 100. Are you getting the logic? Why am I telling you should never come down below 80? And you should not come out saying that I have attempted 65, I have attempted 68, I have attempted 70, I have attempted 75. Please get ready for next year. Right? At any cost, you cannot afford to attempt less than 80. Right? Now because, now it's very, very clear. Now whatever be the paper, whatever be randomness of the paper, I already told you, there are veterans like me going to play, they are going to come and write. Right? Now when veterans like me are going to come and write, what is going to happen in the exam? Out of those 30 random questions, by hook or crook, we'll get 18 correct. 18 correct, now cutoff will go and sit at 98 to 100 at any cost. Are you getting this? There are number of people who are repeating this particular stage of the examination. Considering that fact, I'm giving this. Right? Now with respect to these categories, SCs and STs, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, you please optimize it at 70. Do not go more. Do not go more. Again, simple. 49, 98, suppose 70%, 49, 21, 14, 98, 84. 84 is a very, very safe score if the paper is tough. Optimization. Optimization of number of questions you attempt. Very, very important for this exam. Right? Now please be prepared with this kind of approach when you are entering the examination hall. If it is easy, everybody can answer it, my dear. Yes? Now you will be ready for an easy paper, but you will not be ready for a tough paper. Please understand that. Now when it is an easy paper by mistake, what is going to matter there is your attempt. Number of questions you are attempting. Then the OCs and OPCs are supposed to hit above 90 at any cost. Because it is easy. For example, if you look at 2016 paper, the cutoff was 117. Right? So at that particular cutoff, you need to attempt certainly at somewhere between 90. Are you getting this logic? Now if it is a random paper, right? If it is a random paper, there are two options. You have. One, focusing on accuracy. Focusing on those questions which you know the maximum and which you know the most. That is the probability that those questions which you know 100% that they are sure. On those questions which you know that there are 50-50. Right? When the paper is random, your focus has to be on this bunch of questions. Point number one. Point number two, when the paper is random, UPSC is giving you clue that this year we have elaborately given you scope to use Jugaad. It is a clue. It is an indirect clue. Right? Nobody can answer random questions. Now if the UPSC is giving you random questions, means it is already giving you that Arey Babu, we have followed a particular pattern which we have been following. Please observe that. So observe the pattern that we have discussed and use Jugaad techniques. Use Jugaad. Right? That is a clue that UPSC is giving you. Please understand. Please understand and please be ready with this approach. If the paper is random, one, focus on these 100% and 50-50. Two, Jugaad techniques. The best example is 2020 question paper. 2020 question paper, the classification is it is a random paper. Now when it is a random paper, it is very certain that one, we'll focus on this. If you have to increase our attempt, two, it is giving you scope for Jugaad techniques. Now if you want, you just go back once after this session and look at 2020 question paper. You can apply all the techniques we discussed during those PYQ sessions. All techniques are very well applied there. There are extreme statements. There are inconsistent statements. Right? Now there are those Jugaad techniques which are not correct, C or D. Right? Mahatma Gandhi wala. So some techniques like this. Now if there is a statement called contemporary, if there is a word called contemporary in the question, that statement is already wrong. Generally UPSC does that. Right? If X is the contemporary of Y, generally that is a wrong statement. Generally, again, 95% of the times it is a wrong statement. Now UPSC gave the scope to apply all these techniques in 2020. Are you clear with this? Right? Please remember. 1, it is moderate. 2, it is tough. 3, it is random. The maximum probabilities. And keeping yourself ready with such kind of approaches is very important because you should not have surprise element. Right? Suddenly, like you were expecting Katrina Kaif in an item song, suddenly Pooja Hegde comes off. It's a surprise element. Same thing happens with your paper also. You're expecting a moderate paper, suddenly it turns out to be tough. You're expecting a random paper, suddenly it turns out to be moderate. The thing that you need to do is be ready with these approaches. Once you fix it in your head, that you know in first 10 minutes which lot of your techniques you are going to apply. So next 100 minutes is going to be, or next 110 minutes is going to be safe. It's not going to be roller coaster ride. Because you are mentally prepared that, Arey Babu, no, paper is tough. And I am going to maximize on, or I am going to play on the factor of accuracy. Paper is moderate. I am going to play on the factor of number of questions to be attempted. Right? So you have finished your GS paper. Okay. GS is over. Right? Now there are some don'ts after your GS paper. Right? Point number 1. Do not talk to any Tom, Dick and Harry around you. Point number 1. I am using these words very specifically because it is very detrimental. That buffoon next to you might be very excited. Right? Maybe he is having all his stars aligned on that day. You are having a bad day. Suddenly that fellow says, I attempted that, I attempted this, I'm getting this right, I've done everything before. Are ఆ క్వశ్చన్ నుంచి ఆ పేపర్ నుంచి ఈ క్వశ్చన్ ఈ ఆప్షన్. హూ ఆస్క్డ్ యు? ఎవరు అడిగారు నేను? హూ ఆస్క్డ్ యు? Nobody asked you. Why are you so excited? Do not talk to anybody. First thing. Second thing, if your parents are coming to the examination center, it's a challenge. Now they'll become Vajiram, they'll become Vision IAS, become Next IAS, they'll become everybody. Now they are the entity in themselves. Now they are the institution by themselves. They'll say, how was the paper? How many did you attempt? How many history questions? How many current affairs? నువ్వు ఎప్పుడు న్యూస్ పేపర్ చదివేవాడే కాదు. I used to tell you read newspaper. I told you read competition success, you did not read. వాళ్ళ తపన, nothing wrong in that. The thing you do with parents, give you a question paper to them, make an answer key, ask them to make an answer key, ask them to search in Google, you find out how I wrote, I need to take rest. Please do this. Do not indulge in discussion with your parents too. This is very very practical. Sir, మీరేంటి సార్ ఇలా చెప్తున్నారంటే అలానే చెప్పాలి మరి. Because all these are very very practical. Now every year when I go to the center, the first thing I do is mothers will be standing near the gate like this. Right? As soon as that fellow comes, as if that some Kashi Prasad is coming, that fellow will snatch away the question paper of the kid. అరే నాన్న ఎలా రాసావరా, రాత్రంతా నీ కోసం మొక్కున్నాను రా, whole night I was praying for you, how did you write, did my prayers get fruitful? Amma talli, please. Right? So please silence your parents by saying exam is over, afternoon we have one more exam. Right? I need to take rest. రాత్రి మీ ప్రేయర్స్ వల్ల నాకు నిద్ర పట్టలేదు. రైట్, మీరు అంత ఇంటెన్సివ్ చేశారు. లెట్ మీ స్లీప్ ఫర్ సమ్ టైమ్ బిఫోర్ మై ఆఫ్టర్నూన్ ఎగ్జామ్. రైట్, దీస్ ఫోర్ డోంట్స్. డు నాట్ డిస్కస్, డు నాట్ discuss even with your parents. The third thing that you need to remember is do not repent upon those silly mistakes you have made in the exam. It might be bubbling mistakes. It might be some questions which you know which you were thinking and suddenly outside the examination hall you realize that you have marked them wrong. Do not bother. Give a benefit of doubt of 5% for silly mistakes. No issues. You can make 3 silly mistakes. I did not tell you this on April. I told you you should never make silly mistakes in your life. But on the afternoon of the exam, you should remember that you have a tolerance of 5%. I can make 3 silly mistakes. Provided what? This 3 silly mistakes is you have committed. If you have committed, do not repent upon it. Because what happens is if you start repenting, you will not focus on CSAT. Now the main devil that is existing. Right? I don't understand, many people are victims of CSAT in spite of getting good score in paper 1. Right? Now there is a logic. Now when you look at 2019, 2020, 2021 paper, the paper is very very taxing in the morning. It is not expecting you to recollect 100 concepts, but whereas it is expecting you to recollect 300, 400 concepts between those 100 questions. It is expecting you to use common sense, it is expecting you to use intuition, it is expecting you to use knowledge, it is expecting you to use jugaad, technique, common sense, everything. So it is automatically taxing. Now the biggest mistake after you give your GS examination in the morning is you start studying for CSAT. ఏదో ఆ 3 గంటల్లో శ్రీనివాస రామానుజము మరో శక్తి అవుతుంది అన్నట్టు. Don't of those 2 hours that you get in the middle is do not study. If you want to study, 9:30 to 11:30 exam gets over. The maximum time up to which you can study is 12:15. From 12:15, please have your lunch and take 1 hour of good rest. Now for those people who are not able to get their vehicles, I would suggest you to hire this Uber. Uber waiting charges will be there, no? The 2 hours, 3 hours wala facility. Use it. Use it. Because nothing is more important for you than those next 2 hours. Please remember. మీరు ఆస్తులేం అమ్ముకోరు ఆ 2 గంటలు. That is very sure. Right? Please remember that you take ample amount of rest for that 1 hour. Do not study. And please go to the examination hall upfront on the case of CSAT. At 2 o'clock itself, you sit in the exam center. Now, the simplest technique I can tell you is do some big multiplications. Before your CSAT question paper is given to you, do some big multiplications. The logic again. The logic is it warms up your brain. Because you need a quick brain for attempting your CSAT. Do some big multiplications. 25 into 24. Do it. Do it with your head. Don't put pen and paper. Right? 28 into 29. Depend. Now don't get panicked. I'm not getting answer for this. Right? I'm just telling you to warm up. When you do this big multiplications, your brain is automatically warmed up. Right? Now once you get the question paper, now please follow this approach. Please follow this approach if you have to clear your CSAT. That's for sure. Right? Now the way you attempt your CSAT paper, the split of your 2 hours is 1, 30, 30. Is 1, 30, 30. Now when you talk about this partitioning of time with respect to your CSAT paper, the first 1 hour your focus has to be 25 questions of maths and reasoning at any cost. 25 to 30. Because logically just see, if you are doing 30 questions, that means 2 minutes per question, which is doable. Which is doable. Right? Now if you are able to hit 25 to 30 questions, right? Now see, one thing, if you are not getting answers with respect to your maths, there is one approach of back substitutions. Back substitution. Solving your question through substituting the options in the question. Right? 50% of your UPSC CSAT questions can be solved through this back substitution. Right? Without even knowing the concept, you can back substitute this in whatever factor that is missing and solve it. That is one approach you have. So in first 1 hour, please emphasize on these questions. 25 to 30 reasoning or maths. Now in next 30 minutes, do reading comprehension. Do reading comprehension. వినయ్ ఇందులో నెట్ ఉందా? నెట్ ఉందా ఇందులో? ఉందా? ఉందా? నెట్ ఒకసారి I'll show that reading comprehension వల్ల ఆల్సో. ఒకసారి 2021 కానీ 2020 పేపర్ కానీ ఓపెన్ చేయండి. దాన్ని ఓపెన్ చేయి. Sorry, is it visible? Or should I? It's visible. Fine. Now see, what I'm doing is I'm not reading the paragraph. How to answer reading comprehension without reading. Right? reading the comprehension. Now UPSC psyche is very simple, that nothing in this world is extreme, right? It follows the path of moderation of Lord Buddha. That is point 1. Point 2, this world is all with a lens of optimism. Remember these sutras, right? It is all optimistic, it is all positive, it is all green, it is never a desert, right? It is all colorful. That is the assumption of UPSC, because now there is no harm, because the recruiting body, if it itself starts scolding government, now will you have any incentive to join it? No. So it's all optimistic, it's all broad. One is, it is moderate. 2, it is optimistic. 3, it is broad. 4, it is ethical, right? Ethical with respect to whatever systems it is following. Okay. Now just look at this particular question. I'm just looking at options, okay? Right? Now strong measures need to be taken to reduce the rural to urban migration of labor. The working condition in construction and unregistered manufacturing needs to be improved. Service sector has been reducing the problem of unemployment. Increased social sector spending is imperative for large scale job creation. Now look at third statement. Service sector has been reducing the problem of unemployment. Is it logically consistent? No. Right? It is not logical, because you know that service sector will demand skill set and everybody cannot have skill set. Now I am not reading paragraph, I am just seeing it. So third statement I am eliminating. Okay. Increased social sector spending is imperative for large scale job creation. Now tell me one thing. They are talking about social sector. They are talking about employment. Are they anywhere related? Social sector like health, education. Now that will enhance the living standards, not your employment. So I am eliminating my statement D. Now look at, strong measures need to be taken to reduce the rural to urban migration of labor. The working condition in construction and unregistered manufacturing needs to be improved. Now here, which statement is seeming more correct? B? B? Yes, B is the answer for this. I did not read my paragraph. Did I read my paragraph? No. Now if you want to cross verify it, read the paragraph. Already there is a clue. Construction and unregistered manufacturing. Simple. Did I read? No. Right? See, UPSC is such a kind body. You people unnecessarily misunderstand. Right? Now this mother-in-law is so kind that it comes and feeds it its sister-in-law. So not sister-in-law, daughter-in-law. Right? Now look at this question again. Rivers and other wetlands should be protected under Ramsar Convention. Engineering water systems should be modernized and further augmented. Wetland needs to be reinforced as more than just open sources of water. Water supply should not be free of cost so as to prevent its misuse and overuse. Now do you think the first statement is seeming correct? Now for conserving any water body, do you need to only put it under Ramsar? No. No. That's a very, very narrow statement. Very, very narrow statement. So I eliminate option A. Now look at B. Engineering water systems should be modernized and further augmented. Probable. Probable. Right? Wetlands need to be reinforced as more than just open source of water. Probable. Right? Water supply should not be free of cost so as to prevent its misuse and overuse. Don't you think it's an extreme? It is not optimistic. It is not optimistic, it is not welfare centric, right? So I am left with two options. Now when I am left with two options, don't you think it is very easy for you to reconfirm by reading the question? Ante na? Now what am I doing here? I am reducing the probability of my reading comprehension going wrong. Are you getting this? Say in next half an hour, if you are able to do something like this with 10 questions, How much time are we taking it? We hardly took 2 minutes. Hardly took 2 minutes for one reading comprehension. Now what am I doing? I'm choosing those questions with straightforward 4 options. I'm not choosing those questions with what? Like this? Like these statements? I'm not choosing these questions. I'm again very choosy in attempting my reading comprehension. That I'm choosing it with direct 4 options because my technique is applied there. UPSC will not come and scan your paper. Array, why is he answering only for that others he left? Nothing of that sort. Are you getting this logic? Are you getting this logic? Now immediately when you go back, please practice some questions from PYQs like this. Like this was the thing which I was supposed to tell about reading comprehension. Maybe I would have done more questions on reading comprehension if I would have taken a special session. But did you get the essence of this? Right? There is an increased accuracy with respect to your reading comprehension. Now out of 15 questions in next half an hour, if you are attempting, or 12 questions, if you are getting 10 right, 99% you will get 10 right out of 12. Because every year I attempt 8 questions just like that and come out. With fortune or with God's grace, all 8 are correct. Right? So now there is high probability of out of 12, 10 are correct. Out of those 30 questions or 25 questions that you attempted in your first 1 hour, right? Say 22 are correct because it is maths. It is in front of you. It is all numbers. Nothing abstract like this. So 22 correct there, 10 correct here, 32 correct, 5 gone. Right? 32 correct and 5 wrong. That is a count. Now when 5 are wrong, say 6 are wrong. I'm taking 6 to be wrong. 6 to be wrong means I'm losing 5 marks. Right? If I'm losing 5 marks, what is my score here? 32 into 2.5, 75. Again, 5, 80. 80 minus 5 is 75. So by the end of 1.5 hours, I've qualified my CSAT. You can sleep. You can sleep. Rest is gone. Right? Are you getting this? Now అక్కడికి వెళ్ళి ఏదో మనం పాండోరా బాక్స్ ఓపెన్ చేయాలి, అక్కడ ఏదో డిటెక్టివ్ గా nothing. Now why I call people failing CSAT is stupidity, because this only. They would have struggled so much for the morning paper, because morning paper is very random. Now when you are able to qualify that, how can you afford to lose your mains attempt just by getting disqualified in CSAT? That is stupidity. We say, మా జాతకం బాలేదు, మా స్టార్స్ సరిగా లేవు, right? For CSAT I will not agree. పొద్దున్న పేపర్కి జాతకం బాలేకుండా పోవచ్చు, right? Or there might be some dosha, kuja dosha, whatever. But for afternoon CSAT paper, that is not tolerable at any cost. And whenever you are attempting, attempt it at 1.5 hours. I am qualifying my CSAT. Chunk it and sleep. If you still have patience, solve some more questions of maths, or don't do comprehension in those last half an hour. I'm telling you. You're again spoiling it. In those last half an hour, if you're having time, do some maths or reasoning, because you can verify that. You cannot verify your reading comprehension. Are you getting my logic? Are you getting my logic? You might be MA in English, you might be B.Ed English lecturer, whatever, but these reading comprehensions are little different. They are little different, because when you look at the keys of this reading comprehension, even the coaching institutes in their AC rooms are going wrong. Now under that pressure, there is high probability for you to go wrong also. So try attempting more of maths, try attempting more of reasoning. If you say, sir, I am from a non-maths background, they are not asking you differentiation, they are not asking you integration. They are asking you 10th standard level mathematics. Please remember this. And please do not back out on maths, and please do not back out on reasoning. If you are backing out on that, you are not qualifying your CSAT. Is this clear? Right? Somebody give me water now. Now we have given your exam. Once you come back, you verify your keys. Don't say I am doing Nishkama Karma. I will not verify. Let the result come. I will see, right? Or I'll take rest for 3 days, then I will verify. Don't do all this nonsense. Finish the business of prelims on June 5th and throw it. Chalu. Enough you have worked. Right? So verify your keys with 10, 12 institutes. Keep a range of score. Don't worry. Don't look at cutoffs at that particular point of time because nothing is going to manifest. Only after 1 week you will have the dust settled and you will see your cutoff predictions coming there. Okay. This is on June 5th. June 1st to June 4th. Right. I'll end this session with the planning of June 1st to June 4th. Then I'll give you moksha. Okay. Now June 1st to June 4th. Now this is again very, very crucial period. There are certain do's which you need to do in this context. The first thing is read the first 11 chapters of Lakshmikant. Point number 1. Point number 2. Revise PYQs. Point number 3. Read all the charter acts up to your 1947 Government of India Act or Indian Independence Act. Right? Environment, whichever compilation you have done, refer to the chapters of climate change, refer to the chapters of biodiversity. Right? Economy, refer to the chapters of banking, and refer to the chapters of fiscal policy with international economics. Geography, do rivers and tributaries, do crops, right? I told you prepare some table, right? 10, 12 crops I had given you list, prepare the table on it, do crops. Okay. For ancient and medieval, revise Mauryan and Delhi Sultanates. And this year Bahmani kingdom is very, very important. Right? The 5 confederacies of Bahmani kingdom, Bidar, Berat, Ahmednagar, Golconda. Please refer to them once. Right? Now these are do's with respect to your subject. Right? With respect to your subject. All this can be done in 1 day, 1.5 day maximum. Except this. Right? Keep very, very limited time. Do not keep an extended time period on this. Maximum 1 or 1.5 day. Nothing more. Right? Nothing more. Okay. Now apart from this, please emphasize more on PYQs. Right? Practice elimination techniques on PYQs. June 1st to June 4th, morning 30 questions, afternoon 30 questions, night 30 questions of PYQs. Solve them, not solve them through knowledge, but solve them through techniques and eliminations. Do it so that you are getting into the tempo of UPSC. That's very, very important. Right? All these days you have been doing your coaching material. All these days you have been doing some institute. You have acquired enough knowledge. Now it's the time you apply. So first to fourth morning, as soon as you get up, you can do 30 questions or 50 questions as per your this thing, but nothing more than half an hour. Don't do anything more than half an hour. 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes before lunch, 30 minutes before you sleep. Do this only through elimination techniques. Do not use your knowledge. Go as a dumb fellow. Use your elimination techniques, use your jugaad techniques, whatever are applying, they are applying. Is this clear? Do it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Pick up anything. Pick up anything. Doesn't matter. Right? Maybe if you want to stay little contemporary, do it from 2017. Because 2017 is the latest 5 years past. Do it in that manner. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 5. Cover it in this manner. I think 2020 paper you will see beautifully all of these elimination techniques applied. And 2018 you will see beautifully all the elimination techniques failing. Do not panic. Do not panic. Right? I told you again, UPSC is kind enough. It will give you scope to qualify the exam. Right? Now a quick revision on all the elimination techniques we just revised. Right? We have discussed. One, I'll talk about techniques, then I'll talk about jugaad. Under techniques, we have talked about consistent statements, plain statements, mutually inclusive statements, mutually exclusive statements, toggling of statements. I think all this I told. Yes, those who have attended PYQ sessions, you will know all this. Toggling of statements. Yes, eliminating one option and arriving at the answer. Right, eliminating one option and arriving at the answer. 6. Now jugaad. Jugaad, extreme statements. Extreme statements. The statements with ly. Automatically. Something like that. Right, those are generally wrong. Statements with ly generally wrong. Statements with extreme, they are wrong. Statement with numbers are generally wrong. Statement with numbers are generally wrong. Statement with years are probably wrong. But when you talk about history, they are generally correct. Right? Then what else? Go for broad statements. Broad statements. Right? The word contemporary again. I told you the word contemporary. Go for broad statements. Whenever it is a question on which of the following statements is not correct, read from last option. Read from last option. Right? Suppose if they are saying which of the following is not correct, A, B, C, D, start from here. Start from D. Start from D. Right? Okay. 12 techniques. 12 techniques, at least 30 marks. Use them. Use them. Right? I think did I tell you about maximum options wala? Yes. Now when I stuck with 2 options, the option with maximum number of options with being covered are generally the answer. But this particular technique, please use it very wisely. Right? If you have given up in the exam, use this technique. Otherwise, do not use it. Right? Because now you never know when UPSC is going to change its trend with respect to this particular category. Okay, that the maximum number of options wala is going to be correct. That we never know. Okay, so this is the technique of last resort. That I am not able to attempt more than 50 questions in the question paper, then use it. I am anyway not going to qualify the question paper, use it. I am comfortable, I have attempted 40 questions with accuracy and I have attempted other questions with 50-50, do not use it. Are you getting this? Right? Do not unnecessarily use this. This is only a kind of solace that you need to get if you have given up in the exam. Right? So I think, yeah. Any doubts? Anything you want me to answer? How to cover entire demo? See, digital paper is very different. Right? Now, when you are looking at a physical paper, your emphasis should be on the topic of the question. Topic of the question. Every question will have a theme. Right? If they are asking about Gupta administration, the theme is Gupta there. If they are asking about agroforestry, the theme is agroforestry there. If they are asking about banking repo rate, the theme is banking and RBI there. You're skimming through the themes. Now when you skim through the themes, you would be automatically able to decipher whether it is random, whether it is tough, whether it is deep. Simple. Because if the subject is testing your depth of knowledge, then it is going to be tough. If it is random, which you have not heard about some themes, it is random. Are you getting it? So when you are skimming it, the maximum thing you can do is focus on the theme of the question for first 10 minutes and decide. Right? Now, certain stress management techniques, I will not say pranayam, breathing and all. Right? During exam, you cannot sit and do om and all this. One thing, carry a chocolate. Right? Carry a chocolate. Okay. Now, because the logic here is after 1 hour, take a break of 2 minutes. After your first 1 hour in the question paper, take a break of 2 minutes. The reason is your brain is fatigued or attaining its fatigue after 1 hour because you are engrossed. The initial 15 minutes are extremely stressful. So after 1 hour, your brain efficiency is going to fall down and the number of mistakes you are going to make is going to be more in the next half rather than the first half. That you would have observed in your mocks also. Most of the negatives you will get in your 50 to 100, not 1 to 50. That is because of fatigue. Now when you get your fatigue, you are losing your attention. The simplest way to handle it is have some water, take a chocolate, right? Now don't take dairy milk and all. Dairy milk is only meant to be applied on your mouth, nothing else. Okay, dairy milk, the reason why I am telling not too chocolatey chocolates, dairy milk 5-star, is again the factor is it enhances your thirst. You have to keep drinking water. Right? Not only that, the second reason is it makes your throat uncomfortable if it is too chocolatey. Right? Because now it reaching your stomach and reacting, by the time you would have submitted your OMR, I am not bothered. I am only bothered about till here, what is happening till here. Right? So I would preferably suggest Snickers. Go for Snickers. Right? Dry fruit Snickers. You will have dry fruits. Right? Now for those chocolate lovers, take some bunch of them and go. If the management of that center stops you, if the management of that center stops you, please write down this word. Use this. Say, I have an hypoglycemic condition. Write it. Write it. Do not put up a fight. Say that I suffer from hypoglycemia. He should not understand. Are video chala chadukunnadu veedite enduku. I am suffering from hypoglycemic condition. I have hypoglycemia. Sir, if you do not allow this chocolate, after 1 hour I will start getting dizzy. My eyes will become blur. I might faint and you are held responsible. And nowhere in the instructions they say that do not carry chocolates. You can open my chocolate and verify is there any secret camera. Right? Because I suffer from hypoglycemic condition, sir. Just like the speech of Brutus in Julius Caesar. Right? Brutus and who is that? Who is the minister of Julius Caesar? Antony. Antony's speech. Right? He scores that Brutus left, right and says, Brutus is an honorable man. Just like that. Tell this examiner, sir, tu hi ho mera sahara. Right? You are the one who is going to take me forward in my life. Please. Okay. Carry it. That is needed. And do not forget a water bottle. Please be aware of your logistics and stationery. Black ballpoint pens. Your hall tickets. I still remember one of my friend forgot his hall ticket for essay examination. In 2017 means essay examination. 2016 he had given interview along with me. In 2017 he forgot hall ticket for essay examination. That year he got 464 in general studies, GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, 280 in optional, 89 in essay paper. He was there for interview but he could not get into final list. After that he was frustrated and left the preparation. So please do not make all this nonsensical blunders. He was thinking he had his hall ticket in his bag but he forgot it. Right? So please be aware about all this: hall tickets, pens, right? Watch. Do not expect the examiner to tell you the time. That fellow is busy having tea, biscuit, collecting his 500 rupees. They are there just for 500 rupees. For you it is life, for him it is just a matter of money that he is getting for invigilating you. Please remember, and don't expect him to be as sensitive as you, and don't expect him to empathize. Right? So please carry an analog watch, do not carry a digital watch. Right? These might seem very, very kiddish. Sir, why are you telling this? But I have to. Right? Okay. Any other doubts? Anything you want me to answer? No. They will not. They will not. Do's and don'ts till 31st May. See, whatever question papers you have solved, revise. I will not say pick up your static books because you cannot cover. Whatever question papers you have solved, revise. Whatever current affair compilations you have done, do it. Keep it simple, my dear. Follow the KISS principle. Right? This is very, very important in life. Keep it simple and sweet. Right? Keep it short and sweet. Whatever. KISS. Very, very important for next 10 days. ఏదో హైరాణ పడిపోయి ఏదేదో చేసేయాలి అనుకోకండి. Right? Simple. Do not at all think about result. You have prepared. You will write the exam. Result will come. What? Leave it. Focus on the process. Process is important. Again, I am quoting in your class. I think I have quoted then also MS Dhoni. Control the controllable factors. The controllable factors in your hand is your temperament, your time of study, and how much you revise. Please take care of your health. Do not unnecessarily eat junk food. And on the 4th, please do not eat biryani, this fast food and all. Keep it light. And for those who are still your nocturnal beings, those who are still studying at night, it's high time you change your sleep cycle. Start sleeping early. Early ante 6 padukoni next day 6 leyadam kaadu. Sleep at 11, 10:30 and get up at 6. So that your brain by 9 o'clock it is active. Now all this is very, very scientific. Now it might appear very, very kiddish, childish. Sir, మమ్మల్ని ఏమన్నా స్కూల్కి పంపిస్తున్నారో మీరు అలానే అనుకోండి, పర్లేదు. రైట్? పౌడర్ వేసి దువ్వి నూనె పెట్టి, I think only that I am not doing. Focus. These are very, very important because these might seem very, very small, but on the examination day, these are going to count. Right? Now please do not attach yourself to the result. It will happen. And please do not attach to what the other person is studying. అరే వాడు ఏదో చదివేస్తున్నాడు, వాడు ఇప్పుడే బుక్కులు తీసాడు, మరి పాపం మీరు 2 months నుంచి చదువుతుంటే వాడు 2 days నుంచి తీసాడు, మరి వాడు ఇలా చదవకుండా ఎలా చదువుతాడు? Do not be worried about what the other person is studying. Just focus on what you are doing it. Right? Again, very simple. After your June 5th, your prelims is done. Right? Again, nothing is going to change. Time will not stop. June 6th morning will come. You will brush, you will have bath, you will get fresh, you will continue. You will not stop breathing. విల్ యూ? జూన్ 5th రోజు సరిగా రాలేదని ఇట్లా బుక్కులు మూసుకొని కూర్చుంటే లేదు కదా, రైట్? Will your parents say, "Hey, you idiot, you did not qualify, get lost out of house" or something like that? No. Maybe in US that is possible, not in India. Because even till the age of 32, they are able to support you. 35, they are able to support you. Right? When these three things are not changing in your life, nothing is changing. I already told you, again I'm telling you. Either that sky is going to fall down on our head on June 5th if we don't qualify. Nothing is going to happen. Focus on next 10 days of how you are revising. Focus on what is your approach on June 5th. Do it, finish it strategically and come out. Captain cool. Play like that. Play like that. And the process is easy, my dear. Now again, one more thing. Whatever scores you are getting in your mock, please add 15 marks. You will get extra 15 in UPSC final paper. If you are getting 75, you will certainly reach 90 in your final paper. Right? This I did not tell you on that day, because if I tell you this, you will stop studying. 15 bonus vastadile. Those are stuck with 80, you will reach 100, don't worry. Right? Those are stuck with 90s, you will anyway cross 100. Okay, so be confident. Are mocks lo marks ravatledu ante, that's why they are called as mocks. Mock is only for what? Knowing what all kinds of mistakes you can make. You exhaust your mistake bucket, finish. You're not going to repeat those mistakes again. That's why the other day I told you that solve so many mocks as much as possible, because for every mock, if you make 2 mistakes, 60 mistakes. You cannot afford to make 60 mistakes in 100 questions. Impossible. Logical enough. So the maximum subset that is left for you making mistakes is 10. Fine, tolerable. I can make, if I am attempting 85 questions, I can make 25 questions wrong. Still you are qualifying. Logical enough. So keeping your mind cool, maintaining that temperament is extremely important, and you will all do well. Please believe in that. Please believe in that visualization that you will all do well and you will hit it. We'll again meet for mains. Right? How is the George? Okay. All the best. Right? Maintain your temperament. Keep it cool. Focus. Cut off all the negative energy. Please do not indulge in unnecessary talk with your parents. Right? Right? On June 4th night especially, please don't allow them to give you bhashan. Right? Ask them to wish you all the best on June 5th morning, and tell them that I'll talk to you in detail on June 5th evening. Okay? Keep this in mind. I'm not anti-parents or something. No. Even if your mother and father calls me up and says, "Arey sir, meerem sir, meer enduku ila cheptunnaru ma pillal kante," I'll handle. Don't worry. Let them call. I'll manage. First నేను ఫోన్ ఎత్తాలి కదా. నాకు అంత టైం లేదు. అంత టైం ఉంటే మీ ఫోన్ ఎత్తేవాడిని. ఐఎమ్ రియల్లీ సారీ ఫర్ all those guys who tried reaching me out, texting me. I could not respond because I was busy with my mocks, my preparation, my attempt. So please pardon me. Right? Hopefully it did not damage anything. Right? If any damage happened, please pardon me, and I think I have corrected it. Right? Okay. So anything else? We'll stop the session. Right? Take care, guys. All the best. Okay. Hit it hard. Right?